What's coming up is free. There's a whole world of even better stuff for our Patreon supporters. Go to patreon.com/wordinyourear to see how you can join them.
Welcome to another edition of Word Down Your Way. Musicians about to go on the road. And I'd like the record to reflect that both Dave and I are boyishly thrilled that the Manfreds are going out on the 60th anniversary tour. And even better, that both the lead vocalists, both the front men, are on board, Mike D'Abo and Paul Jones. And we're joined by the great Paul Jones. Paul, it's lovely to see you. Where do we find you?
Mark. And you,
excellent. Dave. We're good. So this is you and Mike and Tom McGuinness, I think, playing guitar, is one of the other original members, and three other kind of long-standing Manfreds in the band. Is that right?
Yes. Well, the bassist Marcus Cliff, and the saxophonist Simon Curry have both been in the band for in excess of 15 years.
Right.
So that's nothing.
Johnny-come-latelys they are.
Yeah, it's 45 years late.
I've been here for 60 years. But at the moment, as things stand at the moment, Mike Hugg, our keyboard player, originally the drummer. Actually, he is a keyboard player mainly, and has been playing keyboards since we all reformed in 1991. He's hors de combat at the moment. He's not happy with his ears. Right. And also the drummer who was who was a Manfred from 1991 onwards. He was actually a member of the blues band since 1979. And before that, he'd been in a band that was very often on John Peel's program. But even before that, he was in a band called Family.
Of course. Rob Townsend.
Yes.
Rob Townsend, yeah. But Rob is also off the road at the moment. Oh, right. And so at the moment we have a keyboard player called Mike Gorman, who's sensational, and an equally excellent drummer called Pete Riley. Right. And we're mostly an East Anglian band nowadays.
Yeah. Well, look, Paul, we're gonna magically take you back in time to the first gigs that you remember seeing, because you were from Portsmouth, right? Is that where you grew up?
Yes.
Who do you remember seeing, and what kind of gigs were there? Was this the Star Club, the Guildhall? I'm trying to think what the venues were in Portsmouth.
Okay. I went to the Guild. I can remember going to the Guildhall once. Can I start at the King's Theatre, Southsea?
Yeah.
Because I saw Lonnie Donegan there.
Oh, brilliant.
My parents used to drag me there to see musicals. At the age of 9, 10, 11, 12, I detested musicals with every fibre of my being, because they dragged me to see things like Carousel. How on earth is a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old going to like anything about Carousel? And even worse, Brigadoon. But anyway, I went to the King's Theatre to see Lonnie Donegan. And that's got to be one of the earliest gigs I can remember.
So how old would you have been then, roughly?
Well, it must have been post... why should I tell you? Okay.
No shame. You're among friends.
I was probably about 14.
Yeah. What do you remember of it?
Because I think when it came to my 15th birthday, I asked my parents to buy me a guitar. They bought me an acoustic guitar, so I learned how to play It Takes a Worried Man to Sing a Worried Song.
Fantastic.
15-year-olds don't really get worried that much.
No, they don't. No.
But anyway, that was good. And yes, I did go to the Guildhall. I went to the Guildhall because there was a Craig Douglas gig on. Craig didn't make the gig because I don't know if you remember this, but he had tonsillitis, And he had his tonsils removed, and he couldn't sing for a while. And that's enough out of you, Dave. Anyway, he was replaced by Roy Young.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right.
Does anybody remember Roy Young? He was in Cliff Bennett's band.
Yes.
Right.
And various other things like that. And he was sensational. He was like sort of Jerry Lee Lewis with bits of Little Richard thrown in. You know, I mean, he dressed entirely in shiny black with white shoes. And the white shoes would come up onto the keyboard for sort of like particularly high notes.
Yes.
And I thought he was tremendous as well. I got friends with him much later on, and I think he's gone now, hasn't he? But anyway, he was absolutely terrific, Roy Young. So I went, and the only other thing I can remember from those years was going to Southampton and seeing the Modern Jazz Quartet.
Oh, right.
Right.
The support band was an English jazz group led by Don Rendell, fabulous tenor saxophone player. And then the MJQ. I was a big MJQ fan, Modern Jazz Quartet. They were absolutely tremendous because I already loved blues, and blues was at the heart of what they did. I mean, John Lewis, the piano player, was like almost classical in the sort of precision of his playing, but yet there was this blues feel underneath it. And Milt Jackson, the vibraphone player, was a blues musician through and through, and so I loved them. Lonnie Donegan was good, Roy Young was good, very good, but the Modern Jazz Quartet.
Who did you first see who made you think I want to I'll be on stage myself?
There was some time I did. I tell you what, I did a bit of skiffle, and I did actually get on stage with my schoolboy skiffle band.
What were they called? Can you remember?
The Louisiana Four.
From Portsmouth. Yeah, right, yeah.
Yes. Don't ask me why. I think it was because Hughie Leadbelly, came from Louisiana. He was, you know, you might have thought he was from Mississippi or somewhere, but no, he was from Louisiana, and I think it was because of him that we did that, and we did, you know, we learned the skiffle bits and pieces, but I started to be really interested in blues, but I wasn't sort of playing much anywhere. My father, who was in the Navy, that's why I'm from Portsmouth, he was actually captain of Plymouth Dockyard. And at this point, I was at university, and in my first term, I went home and I found this shop in Plymouth during the college holidays, the Christmas holiday, and it was called Pete Russell's Hot Record Store. How could I stay away from that? And I went, and I used to sort of buy the odd Big Bill Brunsey record or something like that. But one day I was in there and he said, "You like blues? What do you think of this?" And he put on a 10-inch LP on French Vogue records of T-Bone Walker. It was absolutely sensational. T-Bone, he always worked with really good jazz musicians. Yeah. But in this particular album, the record company had taken him to Chicago and put him with Chicago blues musicians, like on bass, the one and only Willie Dixon, and on harmonica, a man called Junior Wells. Mm-hmm. And there was a song that T-Bone did with Junior Wells on harmonica called Play On, Little Girl, which I recorded 40 years later with Pete Brown.
But the blues, all that was really happening in London. So what stage did you move to London, and you were going to the Ealing Club, weren't you, and meeting up with early members of the Stones and stuff? When was that?
I'd gone, I'd been, I went to London quite often, lying about my age because I was reasonably tall. And I would go to the 100 Club or the Marquee and hear jazz music and so on. And eventually I heard Alexis Korner, but that was later. But hearing that T-Bone Walker with a harmonica on it, that was what made me decide I wanted to do this.
Oh, right, absolutely.
I lasted one more term.
Yes.
I've got to ask you a question. Based on my memory, when I was either 15 or 16, I went to see Manfred Mann, a top of a bill on package tour in Wakefield, Yorkshire. And I think, if my memory is correct, on the same bill, you had the Spencer Davis Group. Is this right? Did we get the Graham Bond Organisation also on the same bill? Have I got that right?
Well, the Graham Bond Organisation didn't happen until 1966.
Oh, okay. Well, right. Okay. I may be mixing up two tours, but Spencer Davis was certainly there, weren't they? With Steve Winwood.
I can remember doing gigs. The first gig that we ever did with Spencer Davis. Back in London, I said to Long John Baldry, who was singing with Alexis Korner's band, I said, "There's a kid in Birmingham, and if he ever comes to London, you and I are finished." Yeah. That was Steve Winwood.
And he was probably only about 15 at the time, wasn't he?
15 years old at the time. And I said to Spencer Davis, "How come we never see you in London?" He said, "It's because of the kid. His mum won't let him come." They had to be within a sort of, whatever it was, 25 mile.
Yeah. So did you play occasionally as a duo with Elmo James, a.k.a. You've just been, a.k.a. Brian Jones, later the Stones? Is that right?
We sometimes... Is that okay, that picture?
Yeah, it's fine.
Go
on. We sometimes would gate crash parties and things like that. Hit him with a guitar and me with a harmonica. I was useless on the harmonica. I'd heard this fabulous harmonica and I immediately bought a harmonica or actually more than one. And one day, we definitely played mostly at parties, maybe the occasional sort of student union thing, because there were plenty of colleges.
Yeah.
And Brian, of course, was in Cheltenham, which was just, quite handy for Oxford. And by that time, Alexis Korner had opened his club in Ealing. And so Oxford was on the way from Cheltenham to Ealing. So Brian would come and pick me up, and then we would hitchhike to London. But yeah, we did play together a bit. And it was Brian who said to me, You're doing that. You're playing that harmonica all wrong. And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, what key is that harmonica?" And I said, "It's C." He said, and what key are you playing it in? I said, "Well, C." He said, "That's where you're going wrong. You want to play it in the key of G. And if you want to play in C, you need an F."
Well, pretty fundamental advice, I would have thought.
It's cross harp, it's called. It used to be called cross harp. Now it's called second position or third position. And that's to say upper fifth or down a fourth or up a tone. But it was Brian who said, this is how you play the blues, and you play cross harp. And it was like opening a sort of special door into a magic place.
That's brilliant. That's great. So apart from the skiffle band and you playing with Brian and stuff, was there a group that you were in pre-Manfreds? Was there a band that you played in?
No. I sort of sat in with people. we used to go to the Ealing Club on a Saturday, and Alexis Korner's Blues Incorporated, with the vocals split between Cyril Davis, the harmonica player, and Long John Baldry. And lined along the front of the stage, there would be Mick Jagger, me, Andy Wren, Art Wood, and that's Ronnie Wood's brother, by the way, and various people like that, all kind of looking up at Alexis, going, me.
Choose me. That's right. Yeah.
And Alexis, being wonderfully generous and helpful and encouraging as he was all his life, wonderful man. He would point at Mick or point at Andy or point at me, and you'd go, yeah, and jump up on the stage, and he would say, right, what do you want to do and in what key? And you'd say, I'm going to Chicago in G.
There was always a rumor that Keith and Brian had asked you, Keith Richardson and Brian had asked you to form a band with them, to be the singer in their band. Was that right?
Brian asked me to sing with a band he was forming. Everybody thinks that Keith was already in it at that point.
But he wasn't.
No, there was nobody. Brian said, I'm going to form a band. Not I have started to form.
Right.
He said, I'm going to form a band. Do you want to be my singer? I said, no. I thought, what Brian actually said was, I'm going to form a band and I'm going to become rich and famous.
Oh, really?
And I said, playing blues? You're going to become rich and famous? Alexis Korner played the blues, and his band was full of guys who were all in other bands as well. And some of them were in 2 or 3 other bands.
Yeah.
You know, guys made a living by playing with anybody who asked at any time. You couldn't make a living from being in Alexis Korner's Blues Incorporated. And here was Brian saying, I'm forming a band and I'm going to become rich and famous. And I'm going, no, Brian, no, you're not. Good luck with it. You know.
Yes.
And also, actually, to be honest, I just passed an audition with a dance band. And you might think, why would you want to be in a dance band? They were great musicians and they were paying money.
There you go.
So,
absolutely.
But anyway, so
what can we expect?
I used to sit in with Alexis, and I also, when after Cyril Davis split from Alexis, I would hound Cyril's gigs as well, and stand right in front of the bandstand, and Cyril would say, "All right, come on up, you get, sing something," and I used to sit in with anybody who would let me, and it was because of that when they were forming the band, Mike Hug and Manfred went to the Marquee Club, and they said, we got a band. We're forming a rhythm and blues band with jazz and blues and all that stuff. And the thing is, we've got all the musicians. We know loads of musicians. We don't know any singers. Actually, they said, we don't know any shouters. Do you know any shouters? And Bill Carey from the Marquee Club said, well, there's this guy who gets up with Alexis. His name is Blue Boy Jones, I think it is, and that's what I was. And he said, you might try him. And so I had a call from a bass player that they were working with called Ken Goddard. And he said, would you audition with Manfred Mann and Mike Hug? And I said, yes. And I went to the Roaring Twenties in Carnaby Street for an audition. And as far as I could see, there was nobody there auditioning except for me. And I got the job.
How did you get asked to contribute the theme tune for Ready, Steady, Go? Well, that's fantastic, because 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 was the theme tune, wasn't it? Written by you and Mike and Manfred.
Yeah, we had a record out before that called Cock a Hoop, which was a song of mine, very much influenced by Bo Diddley, hugely influenced by Bo Diddley. And obviously they liked it because they invited us on to Ready, Steady, Go to do that. And so we did. And they said, would you be interested in writing us a signature tune? And of course we said, and Manfred had written the first song that we put out as a record, tune, instrumental. I wrote the next one. And then they said, would you be interested in writing this theme tune for us? And we said, yes, of course. And they said, right, well, we like the original, the first one you did, the instrumental. That was nice. We want lots of instrumental. We liked Cock a Hoop because we like the rhythm very much. You must have that same rhythm. It's a Bo Diddley rhythm. And they said, oh, and you must do a countdown, and you must have at least 35 seconds, no, it's 25 seconds of music without, apart from the countdown, no lyrics until at least 25 seconds in. And so apart from that, you can go your own way.
Do whatever you want.
Do whatever you like.
Be my guest.
So basically, we knew it had to be a blues. We knew it had to have the Bo Diddley rhythm, and the countdown, all of that. And all I had to do was steal some words from Alfred Lord Tennyson, Charge of the Light Brigade.
Yes.
The Trojan War. So anyway, it was easy to write. We'd written it by the time we got to our gig that night.
Fantastic. So all these years later, the Manfreds are going on tour. Are you still doing that tune?
You darn right we are. Yes, absolutely.
Do you begin with it?
No, actually, well, I don't know. We might. I mean, we haven't. When it comes to the autumn tour, we haven't actually written the set list yet, and we probably won't until about a week before.
So how does it work with you and Mike? Because I mean, do you do it chronologically? I mean, presumably you're not.
No.
All Joe's songs follow the Mike songs, or?
I do one, he does one. I do one, he does one.
Oh, right.
And we break that up because Tom McGuinness has got to do a couple from McGuinness Flint.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
And I might have to do one of my solo hits as well.
So you're going to do I've Been a Bad, Bad Boy or whatever, presumably?
Oh, you've got to do a Bad, Bad Boy.
I love that song.
I love that record. One of my favourite records.
Really good record.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely loved it.
People say, do you ever get sick of any of your records? I said, only Bad, Bad Boy.
Oh, really? Well, what a shame. And does Mike do stuff that he wrote? Does he do handbags and handbags?
He'll do.
He'll be on Buttercup. Yeah.
And he'll also do Buttercup, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, well, that's great. Well, look, Paul, it's so nice to talk to you. And these dates are in September, I think, September, October. We'll put the dates at the bottom of this. But we'd like to end with asking people what the greatest show they ever saw was. Can you remember we're putting you on the spot now. The greatest concert you ever attended?
Dylan at Earl's Court was very good.
Right. What era would that have been? This is the 1978 lot?
Late 70s?
Yes, 78. I was there for those. Yes.
78, that's right, yes. I did enjoy that, but it wasn't the best. That Modern Jazz Quartet in Southampton, that was amazing.
Fair enough.
I think there's lots and lots of memorable gigs, but the one that sticks in my mind was Hammersmith Odeon, as we called it in those days, Al Jarreau.
Oh, right.
Okay.
So, I mean, I was absolutely bowled over by his stage presence, this sort of style of the thing, but mostly what he could do with his voice. Al Jarreau was, for me, genius. Anyway,
fantastic.
I think I put that down as the best thing that and I did see some wonderful things, Muddy Waters live in wherever it was. But I think Al Jarreau takes it.
Fantastic. Oh, well, look, so nice to talk to you. And, very good luck with the tour. And make sure you play I've Been a Bad, Bad Boy, or else Dave and I will be terribly disappointed. Very nice to see you. Thanks so much.
Settle for what?
High Time.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, yeah, that's
also
good.
a good one. Also a good
classic.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's loads of wonderful things there.
Anyway, both written by Mike Leander and Charles Mills. So one or other of those I'll do.
Okay,
fantastic.
Okay. Well, good luck with the tour.
Good luck with the tour.
Thank you very much.